Welcome to the exciting time on well-being. Of course, this is one program that keeps you updated on trending health issues. Today we'll be having a very serious discussion, a discussion that borders mostly on the women, but that's not to say that the men are left out. In fact, this is a topic that everybody, a child, a father, a mother, everybody should be a part of this program because today's topic, how has the interest of everybody involved. Today we'll be talking about C-section. Now, because of time, I'd like us to go down to the statistics of WHO. When I first saw the statistics of WHO, I was literally marveled because, according to the statistics, it says here that the statistics that was obtained in 2023 says here that every day in 2023, over 700 women died from preventable causes relating to pregnancy and childbirth. Now, a maternal death occurred almost every 2 minutes in 2023. That means in 2023, go down, a maternal health problem happens like every 2 minutes. There is one woman that went down the lane. Now, it is shown that between 2000 and 2003, over 700 women died from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth. And today's show, we are going to talk about, maternal health, and today the spotlight will be on C-section, cesarean section. So many people have said a lot about cesarean section, but then we would like to have a deeper conversation today, and today we'll be listening to a registered nurse talk to us about what is cesarean section, who needs to go for cesarean section, why is it even important. This and many more are the things we'll be discussing on well-being today. My name is Geraldine James, and I'll go on a quick break to give you a chance to pick your pen and your diary, call your loved ones to come together because we're about to dive into 20 minutes of deep learning. Be right back. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is Wellbeing, and today we are going to talk about maternal health. I know next month is going to be month for cancer, but then we are going to have this discussion, maternal mortality health, and also cancer discussion side by side next month. And when I say next month, I mean February. But today we'll be talking about cesarean section. What is it all about? Why do some people opt for this? I saw a post on Facebook that a man said that his wife can never go for C.S, as it's popularly called, because it's forbidden. His wife has to give birth like an Hebrew woman. Joining us on this show today is Nurse Udwak. She's going to give us detailed explanation. When they say cesarean section, what does it mean? Who needs it? And how can someone give birth like an Hebrew woman? Hello, Ma. Good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's just hit the ground running because we don't have time. When someone says cesarean section, what does it mean? And when is it medically necessary?
Okay, a cesarean section, popularly known as C-section or CS, is a surgical procedure used to deliver a baby. It's a method of delivery, but this time around, it's not through the vagina, it's an incision that is made on the mother's abdomen and the uterus. That's where the baby lies.
Yeah.
And it becomes medically necessary when a vaginal birth will put the mother or the baby or both of them at risk.
Okay. So
So the goal of CS is not convenience, but it's for safety and it's for survival.
it's for safety and it's for survival. But then over the years, right, we have heard many myths around CS. In fact, let me tell you the ones that may have heard. Some say that the reason why they go for CS is because they don't want their vagina to be completely torn apart. Some say CS is, better because it reduces pain. On the other side, people are against CS. Most times you hear people give testimonies in church and they'll be like, the doctor said I should go for CS, and I was like, God forbid. But before we even talk about the myth, when people say they want to give birth like Hebrew women, please, as a nurse, what does giving birth like an Hebrew woman feel like?
So this first comes from the Bible, as you all know, in Exodus 1 verse 19, when the Bible talked about Hebrew women and as people that gave birth quickly before midwives arrived.
Yeah.
But today people use it to mean fast or easy labor, or they just liken it to only natural vaginal delivery without complications. So, however, it's not a medical standard. Every woman's body, pregnancy and labor are different. So a woman can be strong but still needs an intervention, including a C-section. So giving birth like an Hebrew woman, we don't even know what the Hebrew women really look like in the Bible. But personally, as a medical person, I would say that Hebrew delivery is having your baby alive, having the mother alive. Because after all, if you look at it critically, a C-section takes even a lesser time than a vaginal delivery would take. Vaginal delivery for a primate would take approximately 12 hours. For a multi-gravida, that's somebody that has given birth time and again, it will take about 8 hours. For a C-section, in 1 hour, 30 minutes, you have your baby. So what is more Hebrew? So that's what I think. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the myth. What are the myths that you've heard in your years of experience?
Okay, the myth that is common here is that people believe that when you give birth through a C-section, you're not a woman. Like you're not a woman. A strong woman is somebody that pushes out a baby. That is not true. That's a lie. People believe that after C-section, you can never have vaginal birth, and that is another lie. That is a myth. People believe that a C-section is not good, is not safe. The babies are not usually strong. That itself is also another myth. It's not true. Some people say that once CS, always CS. No, doesn't have to always be CS. And those are just the basic myths we have around here.
Thank you so much for giving more clarity on those myths because it's usually very, very common. But before we talk about the a reason why people go for CS, what are the types of CS that we have? Do we just have a one way or we have different types? And which one do you think, oh, it's quite easy and better?
Okay, we have just one way CS, but there are different kinds. Wait, CS is just a particular way that it just has one procedure, an incision, either vertically or horizontally, depending on what the findings are. But we have the emergency CS. This one is the one that happens because the woman was, yeah, it's not planned. It's something that we have to intervene because the woman has labored and is not making good progress. But there's something called elective. This is something that I choose it myself. This is what I want to do. I do not want to attend labor. I just want to have my baby through the C-section. So those are the two types, elective and emergency.
Thank you. Elective and emergency CS. So, do you think that having CS is a failure or a weakness in childbirth? Some people only opt for CS only when maybe they couldn't push out or maybe the labor took so long. What's your perspective on that?
No, I don't think that CS is easy. CS isn't easy. It's not the easy way out. No, and it's not even a failure or weakness. Definitely is not. It's a life-saving medical intervention. It's a decision to protect life. It's an act of strength itself. not weakness. Because you know that with CS, you would always have this scar. This scar never goes away. 10
Yeah.
years on, 11 years on, till you leave this world, that scar stays on your abdomen. So it's definitely not a weakness, it's a sign of strength. Yeah.
Okay. But
And the true success of childbirth is a healthy mother, a healthy baby, and not the roots of delivery, you know.
thank you for that last word. The true test of motherhood or a healthy pregnancy or a healthy childbirth is healthy mother, healthy child. It's not even how the child came, because most times when people say, "Oh, congratulations," they'll ask you, "So how did you give birth?" As if it really, really matters, the root or the way you give birth. But let's talk about the risks and the benefits of CS compared to vaginal delivery. Some people say, "I don't want to go for vaginal delivery because it's too painful," or most times the baby might die or something. What are the risks? And also, what are the benefits of C-section?
Okay, let's start with the benefits because we love the good
Yeah,
rather than the bad.
yeah.
So the C-section will save life in high-risk situations. It will prevent prolonged labor and other complications that may arise. It reduces risk of birth trauma in some cases. Like we have some babies that you see them, they grow up, they're not meeting milestones. Some of them are from deliveries that the mother labored, had severe birth asphyxia, and still insisted that she must push out the baby vaginally, something that a C-section could have easily intervened. C-section has, to a large extent, reduced the rate of maternal mortality
Yeah.
in this our time.
Yes.
Before now, women used to die a lot following complications arising during childbirth. But with the intervention of cesarean section, that has been greatly reduced. It's just that in the rural areas, people still find it very difficult to make this an option, like to choose C-section, and they choose it at the dying minute, like when they're too close, when they've already maybe suffered a loss, either the child is already gone or the mother is about to go, they now make this an option. So those are just the few benefits. It's life saving. It's very life saving. It reduces the risk of birth trauma. But for the risk, but vaginal delivery, once the woman delivers, 24 hours later, you are out of the hospital. But with the C-section, you can be required to spend up to 4, 5 days in the hospital to recover well. So it takes longer recovery time. There is risk of
Yes.
do not stick to the medications, you might suffer infections. And then possible complications, surgical complications. People's body is different. People's body reacts differently. And if you do not use good medications, if you do not follow through the advices that are given during the procedure, you might have these complications. So vaginal delivery usually has quicker recovery, but it also carries risk of complications. So neither method is perfect. Both of them have their own complications.
Yeah.
So safety depends on the situation and the patient's adherence to instructions. So if
Yes.
you do not adhere to the instructions given, you might still develop problem, whether C-section or vaginal delivery. That's it.
Thank you so much for that clarity. Safety depends on patient adherence. So if you're opting for vaginal, you're opting for CS, you have to prepare your mind to follow through. Because I think I've experienced somebody who did not follow through on the cleaning up stages of the CS and then, develop a complication and all. But then for someone listening to us right now, who maybe has been scheduled for an elective CS or something, what are those things that you are to prepare for? For instance, I know that in maybe vaginal delivery, right, you are asked to carry is it pampers? You have to carry pampers, you have to carry these things and then get ready. For CS, what are those instructions that you are expected to adhere to, at least the basic?
Okay, prior to a CS, you are oftentimes required to appear in the hospital a day to your surgery. You do not, except it's an emergency CS,
Yeah.
of course, but if it's an elective CS, you are required to show up in the hospital a day to your surgery. You do not show up on the morning of the surgery. That way, you are monitored in the hospital, and you don't have to eat before you go into a CS. So you adhere to feeding instructions. don't eat at least 4 hours before a C-section is carried out. And then in preparation, the same thing you carry for a vaginal delivery, the list that you're given during your antenatal visit is what you pack for a C-section. You don't need any extras, just that you carry increased amount because you know that you're going to spend longer time in the hospital. For instance, for a vaginal delivery, you can carry 1 or 2 dresses, but for a CS, you might have to carry more. You might have to
Okay.
carry more pampers. You might have to prepare what the baby will eat because most of the times during a C-section, the mothers are not conscious on time if they're not using the spinal anaz because nowadays there's spinal anesthesia that allows you to be conscious while the C-section is carried out. So if you're not going for that option, if you're using the general anesthesia, you might need to get NAN1 or whatever milk that you choose because there's NAN1, there's Aptamil 1 for your babies. So
Okay.
what milk, what formula you choose that this they can feed your baby with while you are still recovering, you get it, you procure it. And I think those are the basic things that you need. You prepare your funds depending on the hospital you're going to. Because when you attend antenatal in the hospital, you know the requirements.
Yeah.
Prior to a CS, it's pertinent for you to go to the hospital and make inquiries to know how much are we supposed to deposit, what is the procedure here. It's not the same thing with the government hospital. The government hospital will attend to you with or without payment, knowing that you would pay. But when you register with a private hospital, you have to know what is applicable. Some of them would say, okay, 50% payment, 45% payment. You don't show up unprepared. Yes. So those are just the basic preparations you need to make, and this is pertinent to where you registered, where you attended antenatal clinics, the place you were giving birth to.
Thank you so much, Nosuzwa, for this detailed explanation. To every woman listening to me right now, if you have a sister or you have a friend that, might want to go through this route, even if it's vaginal delivery, these are the basic things that you want to, these are the basic rules that you want to abide by. Because, we saw cases last year where people just said, I went to the hospital unprepared, and no, it did not end well. But Nosuzwa, let's also talk about culture. I saw a post on social media where a man literally wrote that he cannot accept his wife to go for CS. Like, he's a single man, so he's literally saying this to his potential wife to be, that she's never going to go for CS. If she ever goes for CS, she's filing for divorce, right? Like, he's filing for divorce. Now we have people like this with this kind of mentality. What role does fear, culture, social pressures play in how women view C-section, and how can it be addressed?
Well, it's inevitable. No matter how much we preach CS, we still have these people that are determined that, okay, their partners must not do this, their partners must not do that. But I believe that every individual has the right to take their personal decisions. Some cultures really plays a major role. Well, that is where health education comes in. Because when you come to the hospital, we will spend time. We do not get tired of educating you. We would educate and educate. And sometimes you yourself, you would see this thing with your eyes. You will see it play out. And you would be left with no other option than to adhere or to comply. And then some other times it's very difficult. We end up losing women, because my husband said, at those times you cannot help. You really cannot do anything about it. You cannot help. You just let them. But it's always like, let's say in a 10 of these women, we have about six complying at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we have a cultural factors play a role. Religious and societal pressure plays a role. Fear of judgment
Yeah.
makes some women do not take these decisions on time. But we try our best on our part to educate and show you examples. And sometimes as they play out, you see it and you make informed decision. And sometimes when the man seems to be the problem, we end up just sending that person away so that we can achieve what we want. We
Yeah.
end up removing that person, after we have tried and we see that okay, this woman is going to consent, but for the man, we can make a way, we have a way of navigating those kind of processes. But as always, we still have some of those cases that before they eventually decide to accept, the woman is gone or the baby is gone, and we cannot really help in those situations. So this is just me telling every man out there who is still cultural, before you even get married, please talk about these things with your intending partners. Let's see their views, get their opinions on these matters like this, so that you know how to prepare. And one factor that limits women from taking these decisions is always that they don't have their own finances. They don't have their own money. They are banking on this man. That's what gives this person the authority to make that kind of decision, despite knowing that this would lead to the death of their spouse. So we always preach women independence. While you are planning and buying and shopping for your babies, keep some money in your account so that in case of emergencies, where you know your partner is cultural and says, I will not pay for it, if you have to do it, you pay your money and you save your life. That's what we preach every time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nurse Uduak. I think I have one last question for you, but this question comes with A, B, and C. First, what about what about women who are scared of CS? Because, I mean, we hear things like the doctor will forget a knife inside of you. You will never be able to get up and work and all. What about women that have those fears? Two, how can families support women who undergo CS? Because looking at CS, it looks so simple. After all, they just cut you and they stitch you back, right? So after 2 days, you should get going. I've seen a man who has dragged the wife after 3 days of CS to get up and take care of the baby. And lastly, what is your key message to every woman out there?
Okay, families and partners should support women who undergo C-section. C-section is not as easy as they presume. And in as much as there is no knife, but there is a surgical blade, there is an incision, there are so many layers of the body that are tampered with to bring out this baby. And this comes with pain, comes with a lot of traumatic psychological effects that can affect the woman if they are not adequately supported. So we preach spousal support, we preach family support. Avoid blame or shaming language. If you go to the hospital to see someone who has given birth, your first question should not be, was it vaginal delivery or CS? No, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you have
Your vision
seen
life.
that baby alive, you have seen the woman alive. Help them with household tasks and baby care. If a woman has undergone CS, it's your duty to help them. They cannot perform adequately, at least for 6 to 8 weeks. They need a time to heal. They need a time to heal properly. If not, they will break down. Some of them go into postpartum depression if they are not adequately supported, because pain is not anybody's pain. Individual says it is, pain is individual. Pain is what a person says it is. So if that person says that this thing is painful, you don't underestimate that pain and say, after all, the wound has healed. No,
Yeah.
the wound heals from inside out, and everybody's body is different. You encourage rest and recovery. Offer emotional reassurance, respect medical advice. Don't contradict what they told the person in the hospital with what you know. Don't contradict what they told the person with your own experience. Every woman's reason for C-section is different from another woman. You will notice that a woman that did elective CS, that is well educated, that was well informed, her recovery would be different from someone that was an emergency. The women that have like 4 children, normal vaginal delivery, and then in the fifth one, you are now telling them to do a C-section, their recovery will be longer because they are not used to that birth process.
Yeah.
They would hate themselves. They will feel like they have failed. It is your work as a family or as a spouse to offer emotional reassurance. But a woman that did an elective CS the first time, did it the second time, is already used to that system, knows how it works, knows how to navigate. But even at that, if the person says, oh, this second CS is more painful than the first one, please do not underestimate their pain. Do not talk down on their pain. Don't make it insignificant, or don't make it look like, oh, you've done it before. Why is this strange? No,
Yeah.
every labor, every pregnancy, every delivery is different. And then speak positively about the birth experience. Do not body shame women. Women with CS usually takes longer time to get their body back, to snap back. It's not your time to body shame them, to talk on how they look. No, leave their stomach alone. It is just big stomach. It doesn't kill anybody. They will get it back in time.
Thank you so much, Nurse Uduak. We are literally out of time, but I'm so grateful that you were here to give detailed explanation and insight into today's topic. We really appreciate your presence down here on Spectrum TV. Okay, so that's all we have for you today on well-being. I'm sure that you've learned one, if not 10 things about how to take care of yourself, your friend, your sister, and if you're a man, how to take care of your wife and your sisters and any woman around you. My name is Geraldine James. For more updates on this, you have to follow us on you have to go to our website www.spectrumtvlive.ng and follow us on all our social media handles there for you to get updated and well-informed informations like this. Like come your way, same time, same station. I am Geraldine James. Goodbye.